It is time for us to talk about how society has conditioned us to believe that bare minimum is the criteria for a long-term loving relationship. It has been overlooked for too long, and real love is starting to take a hit because of it. But don't worry, because I am here to help you on this journey of unlearning old patterns or settling for the bare minimum. This video will help you learn how to grow into your highest self as a result of raising your standards for romantic love and protecting your peace and feminine energy. I firstly would like to say that this video is not about dragging men in any way. I have plenty of men in my life who I believe would make great partners to someone one day. This is purely just to help you guys understand the difference between a good man and a good partner. Now, let's talk about something that's become so normalized it's almost scary. Settling for bare minimum men. We've all heard our friends say he finally texted me back after waiting 3 days. Or he's such an affectionate guy when all he did was stop at a supermarket and buy some flowers. And we're expected to feed their delusions about these men because that is what we have been shown is the standard. But the truth is, a lot of people are in relationships where they're constantly justifying why they're not getting what they need and what they deserve. The bare minimum epidemic. We're living in a time where the bare minimum has become the standard. A guy sends a good morning text and suddenly he's seen as a king. He plans one date, compliment you once in a blue moon, and we're supposed to just be grateful. But that's not a high-value partner. That's basic romantic decency. The truth is, society has conditioned women, especially through movies, social media, and relationship culture, to be the understanding one. To fix, to nurture, to tolerate. You're told you're too picky for wanting communication or too demanding for expecting consistency. And because of that, people start to believe that wanting genuine love and reciprocity is unrealistic. Why we normalize mediocrity. There are so many reasons why we normalize mediocrity, emotionally, socially, and psychologically, but here are just a few of them. Number 1, low self-worth. When you don't truly believe you deserve more, you start to settle for less. You convince yourself that what you're getting is enough because you're afraid it's the best you'll find. High-value women know that there is someone out there ready to love them, and they aren't going to go chasing because that is what a low-value woman would do. A girl who understands her needs, practices self-love every day, sticks to morning and night routines, journals, and reads every day, isn't going to go to the club and mess up her schedule and needs just because there is a better chance of meeting a guy there. A high-value man is not going to be looking for a high-value woman at a club. Number 2, romantic conditioning. We've been fed this narrative that love is supposed to be hard, that you should fight for it, be patient, and wait for people to get better. That healthy love isn't supposed to drain you. It should only add to your life. I'm not saying that it's easy, and patience is definitely needed in a truly loving relationship, but it shouldn't feel like a chore. Helping someone express and verbalize their emotions is completely different to feeling them for them. As a partner, girlfriend, wife, it is your responsibility to allow space in the relationship for vulnerability and expression, but it is never your responsibility to take on the burden of another by trying to force an emotionally unavailable man to confide in you. Number 3, fear of being alone. Sometimes people stay because loneliness feels scarier than a mediocre relationship. But there's nothing lonelier than being with someone who makes you feel small, below average, and unseen. We've been conditioned to believe that being single means being incomplete, that if you're not in a relationship, something is wrong with you, that all you're doing is yearning for a relationship and waiting around for a man to come and sweep you off your feet. I'm not saying wanting companionship is wrong. It's completely human to crave connection, but connection shouldn't come at the cost of your peace or your growth. There's a difference between choosing someone because they add to your happiness and clinging to them because you're afraid of being alone. When you settle, you start to confuse comfort with love. You tell yourself, as long as I have someone, even when that someone makes you feel anxious, neglected, or undeserving. But being alone isn't a punishment. It's an opportunity to rebuild the relationship you have with yourself. What real love looks like. Love isn't grand gestures or gifts. It's consistency. It's at minimum being emotionally present, showing up, communicating, and taking accountability. If you find yourself constantly having to explain what basic respect looks like, that's not love. That's parenting an adult. Real effort is when someone chooses to grow with you, not when you have to drag them into awareness. Here's the difference. A partner who loves you will make it clear through actions, not words. They'll follow through, remember what matters to you, and meet you halfway. If you're always the one teaching, reminding, or compromising, you are not in a partnership, you're in emotional labor. Real love looks different to everyone. So let me give you an example from Tam Kaur's Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers book. Person A's standards are kindness, humor, loyalty, friendship, quality time, and consistent effort. Person B's standards are all of the above, and plans weekly date nights, has emotional intelligence, ambition, self development, an aligned mindset, shared values, consistent work ethic, financial equality and support, generosity, self care routine, meets my love language, independence, high self esteem, regular romantic gestures, weekly flowers, compatible lifestyle goals, strong sense of self outside of the relationship, disciplined and self controlled, loving of others, chivalrous, adventurous, open minded, takes time to understand my personal needs, communicative, practices emotional regulation, affectionate, dates to marry, values actions over words, healthy masculine energy, and supportive of my career. Not that person A's standards are bad, they're just bare minimum, and the point of this video is to get you to person B's mindset. How to audit your relationship. If you're watching this video whilst you're in a relationship, I encourage you to ask yourself these questions. Does my partner exhibit all of the qualities that I just mentioned from person B? Am I happy more than I am anxious? Do I feel emotionally safe to express myself? Would I share my biggest insecurity with them in confidence? Are my needs being respected and met? Do I have to shrink or silence myself to keep the peace? Am I able to have deep conversations with them to better ourselves? If you answered no to any of these, that's a sign something is off and you are settling for the bare minimum. You should feel secure, supported, and seen, which is why the next chapter is going to help you leave if you think that you are in a bare minimum relationship. How to leave when you realize you're settling. Leaving isn't easy, especially when you've built an emotional attachment. But choosing yourself is never the wrong choice. Start by admitting the truth. This isn't enough for me. You don't need permission to outgrow someone who refuses to meet you where you are. They don't need to have been abusive, rude, or a cheater for you to want to leave. It can simply just be that you want more. Give yourself grace. Grieving a relationship doesn't mean you made a mistake. It means you cared. It means you truly loved the bond you thought was perfect, and it means that you learned something. And how beautiful is that you had the capacity to love someone so wrong for you so deeply. And I promise you, when the right person for you comes into your life, you will be so grateful for this time because it taught you what love is not so that you could see what love is. Surround yourself with friends and family or content that reminds you of your worth. Fill your time with things that make you feel alive again. Hobbies you stopped doing, a show or movie you loved from your childhood, happy music, and remember, leaving the wrong person creates space for the right one and for you to reconnect with yourself. Caring doesn't mean you have to stay. Hurting for the breakup doesn't mean that you have made the wrong choice. It just means that you are grieving the past version of yourself who accepted that bare minimum relationship because you know that the new version of yourself that you are growing into never would have tolerated that. You are not asking too much, you were just asking the wrong person. The right person will never make you feel like your standards are a burden and will never make you feel like you have to ask in the first place. Stop romanticizing potential. Stop settling for effort that only shows up when you threaten to leave. You deserve effort that is consistent, love that is peaceful, and a relationship that feels like home, not survival. If you're watching this, take this as your sign. Stop making excuses for people who keep showing you that they're not ready to love you properly. You don't need to beg for the bare minimum. You deserve better, and now you know it. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.